much longer will you shrink to fit a life that no longer fits you? When will you say, I am untethered and unstoppable? Your next level isn't waiting on perfect timing. It's on you. And what are you waiting for? And if you took out the word waiting and said wishing, what are you wishing for before you get to your next level? Are you wishing for the right hair, the right president, the right waist size, the right partner, the right bank statement? What are you wishing? Because you need to know this. Wealth, health, abundance, it doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to people who command it. And before you say, oh, that's not me, I'd rather collaborate than command, let me tell you something. Michelle Obama, Oprah, Steve Jobs, Chicago Pope, they all stood in rooms where they felt unseen, unheard, and unworthy. But you know what they did? They didn't wish that it worked out. They didn't wish the room was ready for them. They stayed. They stayed true to who they are. They stayed true to what they want, and they commanded it to be so. And then they ran the room. Wealth doesn't respond to wishes. It only bows to those who command it. Those who command it with full force, the full force of their mind, the full force of their hearts, and the full force of their actions. You were not born to be average. You were not born to be marginalized. You were not born for lack. You were placed here to thrive. You were placed here to add value, the intrinsic value that already shows up in you. You are here to build, to rise, to grow. You are here to forever and forever expand and evolve. That's really your only job. You are here to turn your dreams into reality. But here's what no one will tell you. Wealth is not only something you can't wish for, it's also something you can't chase because it's something you have to attract to you. You attract it to you by becoming the person who is abundant, who is wealthy, whose vibrations attract it to you. It's something you attract by becoming the person who deserves it. By training your mind to think, act, and believe like the person who already is abundant, fortunate, wealthy, healthy, full of options. If you can hold an image of your success so that it vividly burns behind your eyelids, and when you wake up, you're actually shocked that it's not in front of you. When you can do that, if you can discipline your thoughts to such precision, then wealth can't and won't resist you. It'll flow to you with the same certainty that the sun rises. Health, wealth, abundance, options will flow to you because it will have no other choice. Now, this is not about getting rich quick or thinking yourself to abundance. This is not about shortcuts. This is about becoming who you are, about becoming what you believe, what you feel, and what you think. And I want to stress the feelings because most of us foo-foo the feelings. Facts don't care about our feelings. But do you want to know why kids learn curse words 1,000 times faster than they learn any language that you're trying to teach them? Because of the emotional backing with which they hear you saying the curse words. It lands different. It sinks different when you have emotional backings behind it. So facts may not care about your feelings, but your future cares about your feelings. Your futures are dependent on your feelings because your future is dependent on the vibration. the vibration of your thoughts. Those who have achieved more, those who have achieved their dreams, did so because they trained their minds to obey their vision. They trained themselves to ignore the noise of the world and only follow what they hear, what they think. That's the beginning of wealth, not the tangibles that are in front of you today, not the bank statement, not the partner, not the health that you have today. That's a reflection of what you were feeling and thinking in the past. Your mind is the command center. It's the soil from which all results will grow. If the soil is filled with fear, doubt, distraction, lack, limitation, then no amount of hustle is going to save you. No amount of hustle is going to draw wealth and abundance to you. But if that soil, if your mind is saturated with belief, clarity, and a burning desire, then not even 1,000 failures will keep you from it. You see, wealth is first created in the unseen. It begins in the silence. When they say be still and know, they are saying get quiet, get in the solitude, get in the quiet stillness of your mind and make it so. In that silence is the moment that you decide that your life will be something extraordinary. And then you back that decision with a faith that never bends. And faith alone is not enough. You got to think, you got to be intentional, not loosely, not casually, intentionally, with discipline, with direction. Most of us have our frequency, our vibration, our desires on somebody else's Wi-Fi. You got to hope and pray they give you the password. You got to try to make it work with very low bars because that's not your Wi-Fi. That's not your frequency. You're picking up their frequency of fear and failure and mediocrity. And even if you're picking up a strong signal from their Wi-Fi, it's their signal. It's their dream, not yours. You need to get on your frequency. When you're on their Wi-Fi, you're going to wake up. When you're on your old Wi-Fi at your old house being your present state, not where you're going, not who you want to be, but your present state. That's your old house. You're moving out. You're moving on. So you need to get to the Wi-Fi of the new place, right? Because the Wi-Fi from the old house, the old you wake up, you be resentful, you're drifting, you're surrendering to whatever thoughts or demands or challenges befell you on that day. And then you wonder why wealth avoids you, why nothing is changing, why opportunity seems to knock on every door but yours. The answers are always in the questions. So here's the questions. Number 1, have you trained your mind to claim authority over your thoughts? Do you even know your thoughts from somebody else's thoughts? My nose is too big for YouTube. I'm too unattractive to do this. My edges have been snatched. Whose thoughts are those? I don't claim authority over those thoughts. Those are not my thoughts. Question number 2. Have you decided with absolute conviction that you are going to guard the sanctity of your mind, the power of your silence with all you've got? Have you decided that? Because what enters your mind, what enters in your silence, enters your life. Do you fill your mind with doubt, with gossip, with scarcity, with limiting beliefs? Are you arguing for your own limitations? I can't do that because I don't have this. I can't do that. I was born at the wrong time. I can't do that. I don't have the money I need. I can't do that. I'm part of a marginalized community. Or do you saturate your mind with your purpose, with your vision, with the sound of your future calling your name? You see, the wealthy, the abundant, they think differently. They don't look at what is, they look at what will be. They don't ask, can I afford it? They ask, how can I create it? They don't say, I got 99 problems. They say, that's a puzzle to solve. They say, what do I have in me that's going to complete this puzzle? And they don't fear failure. They feed off of it. Because failure to the abundant mind, failure to the wealthy, failure to people with options, or people who know themselves as someone who has options, it's not defeat. It's just data. It's just a direction. It's a report. Oh, okay. So don't go left. Oh, okay. So don't think that. So how do you begin the transformation? You begin by reframing your mind, reclaiming your power. You wake up before the world starts to scream at you, before you check the emails, before you get the baby a bottle, before you attend to whatever else, before you get into the chaos. You sit with your thoughts and you decide, what kind of life am I creating today? What am I building today? What am I adding another layer to today? What am I concretizing today? You don't let the news or the opinions of other people or yesterday's failures, you don't let the size of that old house, you write today's story. You write it with today's brain. You write it with today's desires. You write it with the power of now. You write it with the purpose and the vision of the future. What does that Adrian need? You see, I wake up every day thinking, I am the best advocate for my future self. I am the best advocate for my future. And it starts today. Every morning you get up, you are programming your mind with clarity. Not, I hope I make it. Not, I wish I had more money. I am becoming more. I am the blueprint for the better me. Today, not someday. Today is the day I become the wealth, the health, the abundance, the love, the support I desire. The abundance you want is not outside of you. That's the problem. That's why you can't hustle it up. That's why you can't work a fifth job to make it happen. That's why you can't marry the right person to make it happen. Because it's inside of you. It's waiting on the other side of practice, discipline, habit, all the boring stuff. Yep, all the boring stuff. That's where it is. There's gold in discipline. There's gold in every day waking up and saying for the first 5 minutes, I will affirm, I am powerful. I am abundant. I am me. And yes, you have to do it every day. Not once, not occasionally, because this is not a transaction. This is about transformation. It's a rhythm, it's a pulse, it's a frequency that you have to lock into. Nothing else. No other thoughts, no other words, no other frequency, no other little doubts. People will doubt you. Let them. They don't see it. They don't have to see it. You will be tested. Pass it. Life will throw storms at you. You put up the umbrella of your purpose, of your desire, and you keep it moving. I want you to gorge on failure. I want you to be like, yum, 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 because it's coming. It's coming more than you can think. It doesn't mean that's the end of the road. It means there's another path to take. But if your mind isn't trained, if your feelings aren't locked in on the right frequency, if you aren't forged in the furnace of faith, discipline, feeling, action, then nothing will bring wealth and abundance to you. You have to become the kind of person wealth trusts. You ever hear that? They say, well, if you can manage $1, you can manage $1,000,000. Wealth lies in the unglamorous habits, the quiet hours, when no one's watching and you show up anyway. Madam C.J. Walker, Mother Teresa, Steve Jobs, Nelson Mandela, they failed 1,000 times before they got what they got. Were they delusional? No, they were devoted. They trained their minds to see each failure not as an ending, but as a step forward. Because that's the mindset of the wealthy. Tyler Perry was told that he lacked imagination. He was fired, rejected, broke. But he had something most people never even consider: a mental blueprint, a vision so vivid, so alive, that he could already walk through the gates of the studio long before it was in the world. He was living in it, in the unseen world. And you must do the same. We have to do the same. You build the vision in your mind first, and you make it so real, so tangible, that when you wake up in the old house, you're like, how did I get here? I got to get out of here. This doesn't even fit me anymore. And when people call you crazy, when they say, are you kidding me? You too fill in the blank for that. Just smile, because you've already seen it. You've already seen the wealth, the abundance in your life, the health, the fame. It's not a fantasy for you. They just don't see it yet. They're the ones that are blind and can't see, not you. You have the amazing grace of vision, of purpose, and the mindset, the thoughts, the feelings, the actions of what you need to make it so. And so it will be. That's called mental, emotional discipline. That's called being responsible for yourself and your dream. And when we say responsible, I just mean being able to respond to whatever comes your way until you get what you want. That's all it means. And that's what you're going to be, responsible for your dream, for your vision. When your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions are in agreement, they are in alignment, you command the world. You command the new world that you want. You command it to you. That's what we said at the beginning. Wealth belongs to those who command it. How do you command it? By aligning your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. The law of attraction says, think it, okay? But what do you feel? And what are you doing? Right? I think I'm going to get a parking spot when I get to that place. But I'm going to park way out here just in case I don't. Your actions didn't match your thoughts. I think I'm going to get that parking space, but I feel so unlucky. Doesn't align. Have to be in alignment. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions have to be in alignment. That's the law. The law of attraction is one thing, but the law of mindsets cannot be denied. The law of alignment is the beginning of power. Because until you act in a way that gets you what you want, until you feel like you are worthy, like you are ready, like you are excited, like you are grateful to have what you want, and until you think this world is mine, this dream is mine, it's not going to happen. The person who knows what they want, believes they will have it, already has the power. The power that the world can't even understand. You've got to see it in great detail, in great feeling. You can't just say, I want to be rich. That's just noise. That's just talk. You got to define it. What does that look like when I'm rich? How am I going to move through the world? What decisions am I going to make? How am I going to give? How am I going to receive? You can't just say, I want to be wealthy. You got to define it. You got to feel it. You got to see it. How much is wealthy? What are you doing? Where are you living? When you wake up, what do you do? You got to do that until your vision is so sharp. You got to write it down. You got to say it out loud. You got to build it so vividly that your mind cannot distinguish between vision and reality. Because once your subconscious accepts it, your body will move in alignment. That's how the wealthy live. They act from the identity of their vision, not their current circumstances. That's why most lottery winners don't hold on to the money, because they're still living in the old house. They're still acting from the old them. They're still believing from the old circumstances. They're still feeling like they don't have enough. The wealthy don't wait for the bank account to rise. You've heard them say it. If I lost everything I had today, I get it right back. They think like they own the dream, like they're leading the dream, like they're creating the dream, like they're commanding it to be so. And that's why they say, well, once I've had $1 million, I can always get back to $1 million. And they can if they've embodied the person who has $1 million. If their thoughts, feelings, and actions, once they got that $1 million, became aligned, and that's all they can see for themselves, they think like that now because wealth isn't the result. Wealth is the reflection of what they're thinking, feeling, and doing. Health isn't the result. Health is the reflection. Love isn't the result. It's the reflection. So you look around now. What is your current life reflecting about how you thought in the past? And if that isn't what you want in the future, disrupt those thoughts now, because your current state is a reflection of your current standards, a reflection of what you're willing to tolerate, what you're willing to accept, what you're willing to believe that you command. I am commanding poverty. I am bending it to my will. I used to say all the time, I have a PhD in poverty. I know how to be poor. You go down, you get these burritos. You go down, you buy this. You go down, you hunker this way. Never again will I profess to have a PhD in poverty. Why? Because when you think in limitations, when you hang around those who poison your mind with doubt and smallness, it matters. It tells your subconscious what to do. If you dream small, if you are constantly thinking, acting, and doing small things, you will shrink yourself. You will shrink yourself to be comfortable in your current situation. You got to disrupt that. You disrupt that by placing yourself among visionaries, among people who stretch you, who challenge you, who demand more from you, even if in the beginning that is just you and your intentional thoughts. You wake up and you say, I'm still poor. Wait a minute. I want to challenge you. What do you have in yourself right now? What can you create? What can you command? What success have you had in the past that you can bring to the present? We're lucky now. You can get on YouTube and you can be mentored. You can surround yourself with all the visionaries in the world, past and present. So do that. You can demand more from you. And once you surround yourself with those visionaries, whether that's intrinsic inside of you or the visionaries around you, start to demand more from you. Start to demand that your mind raise the thoughts you think. Start to demand more from you. And when you do that, your mind will raise the thoughts that you think are seeds every day. And you water those seeds with emotion, right? That's where the emotional backing comes in. You plant the seed with your brain. I am wealthy. And then the emotional backing waters them. And then your actions focuses it, right? So plant the seeds of wealth, because you can plant whatever you want. Plant the seeds of abundance. Plant the thoughts that say, I am worthy. I am capable. I am valuable. I am building something that will outlive me. And then get to work. Not just work in the physical world, but get to work in the mental world. Daily affirmations, daily visualizations, daily mental conditioning. This is where most people end their journey. They set the goals, but they don't rewire the mind that created the lack in the first place. You see, you can't solve scarcity with hustle alone, with action alone. You solve it by doing the mental work to remove the scarcity software, the scarcity programming from your mind, your operating system. You can't just remove it, you got to uninstall it. And then you have to upload the truth that you are the creator of your reality, that you are commanding the present and the future to your will. Wealth is not outside of you. It's waiting inside your potential. It's waiting for you to believe that you cannot outperform your own self-image. Let me say that again. It's waiting for you to know that you can't outperform, you can't outwork, you can't outdo your own self-image. If you see yourself as a struggler, if you see yourself as a survivor, as a victim, then wealth will never stay. There's no room for it. There's no space for it. Even if it shows up, it won't stay. Ask a large majority of the lottery winners. But if you see yourself as powerful, as a builder, as someone who adds massive value to the world, then wealth will stick around because it's a multiplier, because it wants in on the good stuff. And it'll stick to you like gravity, because wealth goes where it's welcome. Wealth goes where there's space for it, where it's respected, where it's expected. Wealth shows up where it's expected. Are you expecting wealth today? Are you expecting wealth in your future? So, this is not about arrogance. It's not about unearned privilege. It's about alignment. Are you thinking, I am wealthy? Are you feeling wealthy? Are you feeling like someone who has options? Are you feeling like someone who is in command? And are you doing the things that someone in command does? I don't want you to think that you're saying, well, I deserve wealth. I'm special. We have such a resistance to feeling like we're special. What you are saying is that I will take control of my mind. I am the kind of person who creates wealth because I have something to offer this world, because I have value to give. And I am not seeking wealth just for comfort. Comfort's great. I do want comfort. I do want the material things that come with wealth. But evolutionary souls like you and me know that our wealth will serve, will create, will expand what's possible for everyone around them. Because it is about scale. It is about multiplying, rippling out. It is about being an accelerant for those who are coming behind you. That's where the magic is. That's where the fuel is. And when you can tap into that, wealth knows it is welcome. It knows that it's expected. It knows that it has a job to do. We have to get past this thought that money is the root of all evil. I don't even think that's the quote. I think the full quote is the love of money is the root of all evil. And we just talked about the emotional backing of the thing. And so if you love money, that is going to lead you astray. But if you love yourself, if you love the people around you, and you know what money and what wealth will do, there's nothing to be afraid of about that. Nothing evil about that. I believe fear, weakness is the root of all evil. When you take the fifth why to things that happen around you that create scarcity for people, if you back it out, usually it's about fear. Fear is the root of all evil. Because The purpose of money is to magnify greatness, to magnify value. Money only reveals who you are. If you're generous, it amplifies giving. If you're loving, it amplifies love. If you're adding value, it amplifies value. If you're disciplined, it multiplies impact. That's why your first fortune, your first abundant state must be built in your mind, not your wallet. Because without a trained mind, money will slip through your fingers. But with a trained mind, with alignment with your thoughts, feelings, and actions, every dollar is a seed. Every dollar is a rung on a ladder, helping you climb towards your vision. You gotta stop thinking like a consumer. You gotta think like a creator. The consumer waits, the consumer is passive, you react. But the creator, the commander, decides, initiates, leads. Remember, we said the answers are in the questions. I want you to train your mind to ask different questions. Not what can I buy? What can I build? The consumer mindset, what the consumer thinks, feels, and does, chases the illusion of success, the trappings of success, the look of it. But the creator mindset generates success. Think of Oprah. She didn't ask, what can I earn? She asked, what system can I build that produces value for millions? That's wealth. That's a wealth generating question. And wealth flows to those who solve problems at scale. Your mind must become solutions oriented. Every challenge you face is an invitation, not to retreat, but to rise, not to wish, but to ask, what am I being called to become in order to overcome this? That's why they feed on failure. Because every setback, every challenge, every failure is an opportunity for you to go inside, to be still and know that you have something else within you to overcome this. Something else that you need to bring out and hold up as a value, that you need to examine and look at, that you need to embody. What is it in you that you need to bring out right now today to overcome what you're sitting in? Because wealth is not a reward. Wealth is not the end. Wealth is what? Responsibility. What? Being able to respond appropriately to what life brings to you. Why do they think they say more money, more problems? More money, more ability to respond appropriately. That's what you want. You want to be rich? Then stop asking to be comfortable and ask for capacity to do more. Ask for the capacity to lead, to learn, to hold the tension between the vision in your heart, what you are feeling, and the reality in your hands. That's the question. That's what you ask for. Because that is where champions are made. That's where the wealthy, the abundant, the healthy, the people with options are made. And here's the truth that will separate you from 97% of the people. Wealth is boring. Wealth is repetitive. It's made up of small, consistent, almost invisible acts of discipline. It's not in the grand gestures. It's in the choice to read instead of scroll, to invest instead of spend, to act instead of complain. Those who chase the high of motivation without the depth of transformation will lose and will never hold on to lasting wealth. Again, those who chase the high of motivation without sitting in the depth of transformation will never hold lasting wealth. It's not about one more book, one more class, one more conference, one more video. It is about you sitting in the depth of transformation. And transformation is in aligning what you think, feel, and do. You have to fall in love with alignment, and you have to fall in love with command. Those of us who are from marginalized communities are not used to commanding. It's hard to command in the margins, right? The margins are about this big. The paper's this big, but the margin's this big. And it's hard to reach across that red line on the paper to command. But you have to fall in love with what it means to feel, think, and do as a commander, as someone who is in control. You have to command your thoughts. You have to command your emotions. You have to command your actions. What did you do today? Did you do it because you wanted to do it? What are you feeling right now? Are you feeling it because that is truly what you want to feel? Are you in command of your thoughts, your actions, and your emotions? You're going to have to be if you want to be wealthy. Because when you command something, you become irreplaceable. And the market pays a premium for irreplaceable. But here's where most people fall out. They want it now. And if they don't have it now, they fall apart. If they don't have it now, they walk away. They want results, but no roots. They want the results, but no reflection. They want the results, but they don't want to reflect. You, dear evolutionary soul, will not be that person. You will be the one who understands wealth, who's aligned with wealth. You will be the one to say, okay, it wasn't for today, but I'm back tomorrow. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is not a four-letter word. It's preparation. It's practice. Every day you choose structure over chaos. Every time you rein in your impulses and focus on what matters, you are tuning your mind to the wealth frequency. You are getting on the right Wi-Fi. And let's be clear, you no longer seek permission. You move with conviction. That's the difference between those who dabble and those who dominate. It's not talent. It's not background. It's not luck. It's mindset. What you think, feel, and do every day. Not after you read the book, not when you leave the conference, not when it shows up in a nicer car. It's what you think, feel, and do every day. Your mind is either working in alignment with what you're feeling and doing, or it's working against what you're feeling and doing. Your emotions are either working with what you're thinking and doing, or they're working against what you're thinking and doing. What you're thinking is either working with what you're feeling and doing, or it's working against what you're feeling and doing. All three have to be in harmony. They have to be besties. There is no neutral ground. Those three things have to be hyping each other up, simultaneously hyping each other up. So, how do you turn your mindset into your greatest asset? You program it. You feed it wealthy thoughts, and then you repeat those thoughts until they feel like the truth. You see your goals, you visualize your goal until they're so familiar that failure feels foreign. Not having it feels foreign. You surround yourself with people who think bigger, who live on purpose, who aren't afraid of success, who aren't afraid of fear, who aren't afraid of failure, but who are expecting it. You remove distractions. No compromise, no apology. If it doesn't align with what you're feeling, thinking, and doing, it has to go. Because you are building an empire. And empires are not built by people who entertain every distraction. Your focus is your fortune. Guard it like gold. You must also train your emotions because the journey to wealth will not be smooth. There will be droughts. There will be detours. There will be days where nothing works. And your old mind, to save you from the pain, will beg you to quit. But this is where emotional resilience separates the broke from the bold. You must learn to turn your thoughts and actions towards your feelings. Maybe you aren't feeling it today, so then you're going to do it today. Maybe you aren't thinking it today, so then you're going to feel it today. You must learn to keep the promise you made to yourself long after the mood is past. The mind, when your mind is trained for wealth, it will not depend on motivation. It depends on decision. It moves with intention, and it does not negotiate with weakness. And when the storm comes, and it will, you'll walk right through it. You'll put your umbrella of purpose and vision up, and you'll walk right through it. Because you are the force. Because you command it to be so. With every setback, you get sharper. Why? Because you don't fear failure. You see it for what it is. Direction, redirection, a map, guidance, data, feedback. And that's what you use it for. With every rejection, you refine your edge. It just smooths you out. Every rejection just makes you smoother. Makes them duller, makes you smoother. That's how the wealthy think. That's how the abundant think. They don't fear loss. They use it. They don't run from adversity. They rise through it because they know that now is the time I get to find out what else is in me that I can bring out to overcome this. So they don't run from it. They sit in it and they say, okay, what's in here for me to learn from? It's just a store. It's just a big old store. You're sitting in adversity, you're like, okay, I'm going to take this off the shelf and use this. Okay, I'm going to take this off the shelf and use that. You're going to rise through it because you know something most people never realize. That fire of desire that burns you, burns excuses. It's the same fire that forges fortunes. Now comes the turning point. Because none of this matters. Not the knowledge, not the books, not the motivations, until you decide. Unless you cross the invisible line between I want and I will. I could and I command. There comes a moment in every life where you have to decide to stop dipping your toe in the water and plunge fully without the material guarantee, without the bank statement, without the person, without a map, with only your vision and your mindset as the backbone. And a reason that burns louder than every doubt. The universe does not respond to hesitation. It responds to boldness, to clarity, to unwavering faith, backed by relentless action. Think about Tyler Perry. When he said he wanted to build that studio, make those movies, and people told him it was impossible, he didn't say, well, maybe they're right. He said, build it anyway. I'm doing it anyway. When the people said it couldn't be done, he kept working. It didn't matter how long it took because his mind was made up. His vision was non-negotiable. He commanded reality, and reality bent to the power of his belief. That's how wealth is born. Not by waiting for conditions to be perfect, but by commanding imperfect conditions to obey a perfect vision. You do not need more time. You do not need more credentials. You do not need a straighter nose. You do not need luxurious hair. You do not need the right waist size. You do not need more validation or approval. You need more conviction. You need more alignment. You need the kind of conviction that can't be faked. The kind that oozes from your pores, drips from your voice. When you speak about your vision, Even if it's just in your head, even when your bank account says otherwise, your mindset will throw distractions, delays, doubts disguised as logic out the door. I mean, you've seen it. You've seen it in yourself and you've seen it in others. You've seen what's possible when a human being finally stops guessing and steps into their full power and refuses to settle for a life of quiet desperation. You have to walk away from that version of you that hesitates, that second guesses, that waits for the stars to align. You've got to bury that version of yourself. Bury it. Bury it deep and let it rise with new thoughts, new standards, new rules, new questions, new answers. Because the abundant, oh, they play by different rules because they operate from a different mindset. They don't ask, is this possible? They ask, how do I make this inevitable? They don't need guarantees. They don't need to see it first. They are their guarantee. Their mind is trained to expect success, to adopt and adapt when necessary, to pivot when needed, but never retreat. This is how you train your mind to attract unlimited wealth. You align it with truth. You feed it with vision. You guard your vision with everything you have. No one can do it for you. But once you make the decision, once you step fully into the lifestyle, it's a state of being. It's how you think, it's how you feel, it's how you walk, it's how you respond to chaos, it's how you respond to opportunity. And remember, responsible just means being able to respond appropriately. So, how are you responsible to the chaos in your life? How are you responsible to the opportunities? How do you respond to the failures, to the victories? It's who you become in the process of creating it. When you become the person who thinks, moves, feels, acts in harmony, in alignment with abundance, the world will reflect that. Because remember, wealth is not a result, it's a reflection. Doors open, resources will appear. People will show up, not because of luck, but because you are a magnet, because your vibration vibed with wealth. So stand tall, clear your mind, in your vision, move with purpose, speak with power. This is the rest of your life. You are one decision away from stepping into the rare air of those who are abundant. For those who wealth is normalized. They live in a culture of wealth because wealth is what they think is right, true, good, and beautiful. And that can start happening for you. Train your mind, align your emotions and your actions, and the rest will follow. You will become what you visualize consistently, daily, obsessively, until you start to adjust your behaviors, your standards, your environment to match your inner self-image. That's not magic. That's law. That's biology. So listen to this again and again until it becomes part of your programming, until it becomes installed in your brain and in your subconscious mind, until you break every invisible chain, silence every doubting voice, especially the one in your own head, and walk fully into power that is already yours. This is the day you command wealth. So, say it with me. I rise without limitations. I walk without fear. I move like the highest version of myself is already here because she is. Two evolutionary souls, Ubuntu.